Next female on the wall is Grace Crowley from Victoria. Grace has also had the privilege of representing Australia at the Speed World Cups this year. Travelling to a few different locations, testing herself out on the speed route. Grace is into it without hesitation. Since the solid performances over the weekend. Good solid work there from Grace. Really well. Nice Grace. Good stuff, Grace. Come on. Strong climb here from Grace Crowley. Come on, Grace. Grace just running in next there. She works up in that sequence. Then we have our next male at the wall. It's Marley Park-Ryson from New South Wales. And we have very strong athletes up and coming. Great job there from Grace Crowley. Back up there from Marley. Our next female on the wall is Raphael Wiggett from South Australia. Good clever work there at the start from Raph. She makes her way through this bottom section. And over on the male group, we're getting Bryson Klein from New South Wales. The two Ninja Warriors on the wall at the moment. Bryson and Raph both featured in the last season of Ninja Warrior. Doing us climbers proud. So exciting to be tuned and watch the climbers in action. Bryson Cook's been playing for many years, started as a youngster, just led the show through a few World Youth Championships before diversifying into the role of Ninja Warrior. And he's had great success both in Australia and overseas. Rapid man, strong, kind of pretty good shine on the Ninja Warrior circuit and also on the final circuit. Bryson not mucking around, he's straight into it there. Raps making light of the technical difficulties on this perfect line. Come on, Raps. Come on, Bryson. Solid start there from Bryson and Raps. Both of them very confident. Come on, Rap. Come on, Bryson. Good job there from Rafaela. Come on, Bryson. We're taking a casual rest while we work out the next section. Nice job there, Bryson Klein. Just a reminder, if you are here watching today, get onto your phone and share the link for the live stream with your family and friends who can't be here today. There is a link on the Sport Climbing Australia Facebook page. Share it with those who know, tag them in the post, and we'll get lots of people on the live stream watching what's happening. The more that we get the word out there, the more we spread the love, the more chance we'll have to expand our sport. If you use the hashtag, it is hashtag 2019 Mammoth Nationals. Mammoth Open, sorry, my bad. 2019 Mammoth Open is the hashtag. Okay, Mia Rita from New South Wales, another one of our strong climbers to come along through the youth race. And let's demonstrate this at the World Youth Championships. Nice work from me again, finding a place to rest out and plan the next few moves. And from Tasmania, our next male climber is Leroy Harley. Nice work there, Leah. Come on, Mia. Good job there from Mia. And Leroy straight into it on the male purple climb. A real strong, wealth of young talent coming through the ranks these days. Pushing harder and harder.
Come on, man.
Nice job there from Mia Wiga. And Leo just making his way through the bottom of the men's group. It's quite straightforward as it seems. Yeah, nice work there, Leo. Leo, come on.
Come on, Leroy. Come on, Leroy.
Leo, come on.
Come on, Leroy. Come on, Leroy. Come on, Leroy.
Come on, Leo. Come on.
Come on, man.
And then Sabrini, New South Wales, onto the purple.
Come on, Leroy.
That's it, Leo. Come on. Come on, Leo. Oh. Good job there from Leo Howley. Nice one, Mel. Finding some good solutions to the technical problems at the bottom there. Lovely. Nice to see the routers really challenge our climbers both technically and physically on these climbs. They work long and hard into the night till their fingers are bleeding, their bones are aching, getting exactly right.
Come on.
Nice work there now. Ooh, very different position. Nice one, don't stop breathing energy. Coming up on our male who's now we have Alexander Tchaikovsky. Alex basically walked out of his last year 12 exam, come straight to the championships here. So he's dedicated to the sport. He's focused. Alex has got to Australia a number of times as a member of our youth team. Certainly putting strong performance in the youth championships as well as open championships in the past. Let's see what he's got on the wall today. Come on, Alex. Well, looking good.
Welcome to the 2019 semi-final here at Sydney Indoor Climbing Gym St. Peter's. We are really excited to have you here. Sorry for the little delay this morning in getting the live stream up and running.
And this afternoon in the final.
We started now about 15 minutes ago.
Now looking good. Come
We
on now.
have the female semi-final on the left, the open male semi-final on the right. We've had some exciting time here at Sydney Indoor Climbing Gym Villawood, as well as Sydney Indoor Climbing Gym St. Peters in the last 2 days. It's been a couple of long days. The competitors are still keeping it together on giving us a good show. Thursday and Friday we had our bouldering championships. Yesterday the qualifier in the morning, and in the afternoon we did our national league championships. So this is the last day of the event. Really exciting time.
Come on now. Oh, good job there, John.
Massive thank you to our event sponsor Mammoth, naming sponsor of the event. Sport Climbing Australia has built a really good relationship with Mammoth in the last couple of months. They have been extremely supportive. Without them we wouldn't be able to put together an event like this one. So thank you Mammoth. Go check out their website, go check out their gears, some really cool climbing equipment, climbing clothing. If you get the chance to come around here at Sydney Indoor Climbing Gym Villawood, you will be able to check out their store as well. I can see it from here on. I can tell you there's some pretty cool stuff that I'd like to get myself.
Please welcome our next female competitor, all the way from WA, it's Anna Davey. Anna has represented Australia in a few Bowling World Cups this year at the World Championships. She is a boulder specialist, it's great to see her tackling the lead and the three balls this weekend. Good to see a lot of climbers sort of battling in the rest of those disciplines in the lead up to the 2020 Olympics.
So a quick reminder for everyone that all the results are actually accessible online. For the lead, speed and boulder, you should check out the Sport Climbing Australia Facebook page. I'm gonna post for you in the feed here, in the commentary, the lead result sheets. It hasn't quite updated yet with the semi-final. It will be coming really soon. We're just getting everything set up for the live scoring to come up. We should get that done in the next couple of minutes. I'm really excited to let you know that I can see Emma Hohen coming around the table here. I think she will be your host for the rest of the semi-final. So I'm gonna leave it here with you guys and pass on to Emma that is gonna stay with you for the rest of the semi-final and maybe more today. Thanks for being with us, and I will talk to you soon.
Good job there from Ollie, finding his way into the position.
Morning, folks.
Looking good.
So yeah, we're here at the 2019 Mammoth National Championships at our lead semi-final. At the moment, we have Oliver Henderson from Queensland on our male semi-final
Get
group.
behind them. Come on, come on, Ollie.
Semi-final group.
Oh, come on, Ollie.
Oliver coming off where
So close there for Oliver Henderson. Great effort.
bottleneck we're seeing at the moment. So hopefully, as we work our way through the semi-finals to some of our stronger competitors, we can see that
Come on, Anna. Oh.
getting sorted out.
So close for Anna. You had a hand right around that one. Couldn't quite stick it.
Seems to be the first crux on the women's semi-final group about the top. Up next on our men's semi-final, we've got Sam Lavender from Queensland. Sam Lavender qualified in 16th position into the semi-finals. He was also on the podium yesterday for speed climbing. Up next for our females. We have Siobhan Dobie from New South Wales. Siobhan has been climbing since she was such a little wee tucker, but recently took a couple of years off. She was studying and in uni, so it's great to see her back competing and doing pretty well, qualifying 10th into semi-finals. In my live feed mode, I've now got Chloe, one of our UC competitors, who's come to watch, get inspired, see competitors, get inspired by the legendary competitors in the semi-finals. Chloe, how do you think the round's going so far?
Pretty good.
Two new climbers entered the fray. We have Siobhan Dobie starting up the female
Who's your
climb.
favourite climber
And
in
we have Sam
semi-finals?
Lavender on the males.
Other than me,
She goes to New South Wales, started competing as a youth and is stepping into the open ranks. And the climber who was predominantly a bowler but bowler, but she's definitely come to like the lead and speed over the past year.
and
So
she is pretty
is our
awesome.
national
A really good
record holder in the speed event,
Balancing
having the best time of 8.11, the Australian record. And he's also swing, silk bowler and blue colour. He's represented Australia in World Youth Championship. Oh, look at that lock up there from Sam, looking strong. Come on, Sam.
What do you think was Chloe? I reckon they'll make
Come on, Sam. Come on, Siobhan.
get a kill look.
Well, Sam, come on. Oh, great flexibility. Sam running the boots of power. Nice work there from Sam Lavender. We have Siobhan Dobie looking solid as well. Two highly experienced competitors on the wall.
Very movement based, very good feet. And yeah, super taxing. How do you go climb with this moving?
Well, sometimes it's a bit nerve-wracking, but once you get
Alright, let's see what these guys got in the tank. Come on, Sam. Come on.
What gym do you usually climb at?
Oh, Sam bust out the big one. And Siobhan, great effort there on the triple female climb. There are fans still rising about it.
Unless you climb your own.
Come on, Sam.
Hard to have the endurance levels coming into a compound. And Sam making great headway. Just clipping our 7.
Well, Sam, come on. Come on, Sam. Oh, excellent job there from Sam Lavender.
Up next we have the next Sam Newton from New South Wales. Sydney-based climber from Eden. We were at on Thursday and Friday. All the that. Did you watch the bouldering, Chloe?
yeah, I watched some of it.
Yeah. It was very intense. Did you manage to get off school for that?
No, I wish I could have though.
Oh, so you're just watching it on the live stream? Damn. Yeah, would have been nice for the kids to be able to see the final. Yeah. 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 Okay. Sweet. Up next on our female route, we've got Ashley Brooks from Queensland. Now, Chloe, have you competed against? Are you in first year Youth C or second year Youth C, Chloe?
First year.
Okay. So you haven't competed against any of these Youth B girls yet? Pretty cool to be able to watch those Youth B climbers up against the opens, hey?
Yeah.
Probably a little bit daunting as well, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, come on, Austin. That's it, clear run. We have our second
Who do you want to see win today?
That's hard.
Come on, take it. Make the decision.
Angie or Oceana?
Angie or Oceana? Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. Or Charlotte. I'm a big fan of Charlotte Gardner. But in lead, it could be anyone's game. A slip of a foot, and it's a game changer. I think we're seeing a lot of bottlenecks here on the finals routes, on the semi-finals routes. So we're going to see probably a lot of competitors trying to get up there relatively quickly so they can get that time advantage ahead of other climbers.
Nice work, Ashley. Come on, Ken. Yeah, good time there.
I'd like to say another big thank you to Cup of Tea for her photography skills this weekend. As always, she's a gem. So do you do much bouldering, Chloe? Because obviously I like bouldering.
Well, yes, but then bouldering isn't my strongest.
Well, it's a bit hard at the edge, isn't it? There's not a massive bouldering area.
So yeah, there's not much bouldering where I am.
Do you reckon you want to specialise in anything, or you want to do all three disciplines?
I would probably do all three disciplines, mostly lead and speed, because those are my games, but then bouldering would definitely come along with it.
Bouldering's very good for that strength and power training. Sam Newton also has made it through the first bottleneck on this men's route. This is I guess this is the issue we face when we set routes that have far more powerful movements. You're obviously using far less holds, meaning that the range of scoring points is far fewer. So you're more likely to get these bottleneck situations. So it's in the route setters. It shows a really good route setter to be able to split those bottlenecks. But that's definitely the way that you have to go with lead climbing. Otherwise, we are just going to have crimp ladders. Progressively worse crimp ladders. And I think today we're seeing routes far more conducive with what we would see on a World Cup stage, a lot more explosive and dynamic than we have previously seen in Australian National Championships, which is fantastic and is exactly what we need for our competitors to be training in the lead up to Oceania and Olympics. So that's an exciting step for our route setters, especially because in Australia it's very hard for our route setters to gain the sort of exposure to World Cups that they need for their professional development. Even just IFSC head setters, getting them to Australia is so hard. It's so far away from everything. So up next on our female route, we've got Liz Andre. It's one of Chloe's favourites. Let's see if she can work past this bottleneck that the girls are suffering with as well. We also have Hugo Hornshaw stepping up to the table. How do you think Hugo's going?
I think he's going to go pretty well, and I hope he's going to do well, yeah.
He was climbing amazingly well in the bouldering on Thursday and Friday. Do you remember what he ended up in? I think it was somewhere around 10 or 12, which is incredible in the men's field. It's such a strong field, and he's so young. He spent the last couple of weeks in Japan training, so he's in pretty peak form for this event. We've also got Liz Andres, who also did quite well in the bouldering with a similar ranking of about 10th. She came second in speed yesterday, or third in speed yesterday, and recently won the Open New South Wales state titles. So Liz has had a pretty good season as well.
Really making the most of the features, using all parts of the body to appeal to them.
Hugo Hornshaw just looking a little uncomfortable on this first section, but not having too much trouble to get through there. Now he's up to our first bottleneck. Let's see how he can manage his way around that. Liz coming up to the first bottleneck.
Come on, Hugo. Come on, Liz.
Come on, you guys.
Two of our top junior competitors on the wall at the moment.
Last shot there, Liz. Come on. Put on podium, left ready for speed.
Liz looking pretty comfortable as she works her way up this purple route. Taking her time, resting efficiently.
Oh, fantastic.
And Hugo cruising through this section. We saw Sam Lavender get quite high on after he broke that bottleneck, so it'll be interesting to see how Hugo goes. If just from the spectators' point of view, it didn't look to be too much of a, there didn't look to be many cruxes in between this bottleneck and where Sam Lavender fell, so hopefully in terms of splits we see a bit more. Liz sticking the dyno around the corner.
Come on, Hugo.
Fantastic, Liz. Hugo looking solid as well.
Liz currently sitting in first place now after this this great performance. Let's see if she can get all the way up there.
Come on, Liz.
That's Liz and Hugo. Trying to find a quick stage attack on those ones.
Hugo Hornshaw taking his time, resting out. Liz standing up out of that heel hook, making great work. Still looking very comfortable. I think we're going to see a top here from Liz Andres. Looks very cool, calm and collected. She gets up onto the final head wall. Holds it together, oh no! That's a great result for Liz Andres. She'll be really happy with that. Hugo slowly making his way up this purple. This boy better start moving a bit faster. But this kid can hang on a wall. Been lead climbing since he was in diapers.
Come on, Hugo.
Come on.
Fantastic body positioning.
Yep, now Hugo getting up to where Sam came off. A couple of holds below. Come on, Hugo. Another quite powerful move up to another jib on the feature. Final. Now, can he pip Sam Lavender? Can he stick this next
That's where we
move?
go. Come on.
No. All right.
Great job there from Hugo Hornshaw and Liz Andres.
So that's I think that's a tie for Sam Lavender and Hugo Hornshaw sitting in first. We've got Liz in first on the women's route after that great performance. Up next, we've got Leah Jeffries. Leah Jeffries, another New South Wales climber. Have you climbed with Leah?
Haven't climbed with her, but I've seen her climb and she's really good.
She is very good. She's very strong. She's just come back from a bit of a injury over the last few months though, so she hasn't been on the wall too long, but she's been doing a lot of strength training, which you'll be able to see when she comes out because she's looking absolutely jacked, and that has hugely benefited her climbing. She used to be very good and technical, which she still is, but now she's added a whole nother layer of strength and power to her repertoire. So that's a really, it's a good thing to see, and an asset to a coaching team, that they were able to work around that injury for, I think it was the best part of 6 months that she was off the wall. Men's route just getting a quick brush. Did you compete at Youth Nationals this year, Chloe?
Yes.
How did we go?
Can I remember a little bit? I did okay. Wasn't my best as 2018, but just more improvement will definitely.
What did you outline from this year's Nationals that you need to work on?
Definitely strength and not holding on for too long, especially because I had both of my climbs on overhangs, so it drained a bit more energy out of me when I was just hanging. So definitely have to work on strength and holding on more and just keeping there.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Leah Jeffries pulling on to semi-final, our female semi-final route. On our setting team for lead this year, I think we've got Carly LeBreton as per usual, the absolute trooper that she is, always setting super stiff routes for all the climbers in her gym, Villawood. We've got Dick Lodge from Victoria, we've got Anna from Victoria, we've got some other peeps that I don't know, but it's really cool to see at least like 50% of the route setting team being females. That's a really exciting step for the industry. And I mean, when we've got 50% of our competitors being female, we need to see that. Leah Jeffries working her way through that first bottleneck. Looking pretty cool. Climbing wise, I mean, she always looks cool, but she looks pretty collected here. Looks like Carly's about done cleaning up the men's route. So up next we're going to see Angus Simpson from Queensland. Another one of the strong Queenslanders coming down. It's a bloody epidemic. Leah Jeffries is actually a Wollongong climber, so she comes up to Villawood to train quite regularly because they just don't have the facilities down there to train lead or boulder. Leah Jeffries also making her way around that that jump on the women's route. Let's see how she goes getting up to the head wall where Liz came off. The girls' route set with a bunch of E-grips and Technique holds, which are companies that we haven't really seen in Australia for hold manufacturing, coming out of America. So it's awesome to be able to get these new shapes in because it just takes so long to get everything shipped to Australia because we're so far from everything. And it's crucial for the development of our climbers because if our climbers don't know that the holds... Come on, Leah. Come on. If our climbers don't know the holds and the shapes that they're climbing on at World Cups, they're at a major disadvantage. Leah Jeffries getting up there, now throwing for the pinch. Yeah, and she secured it. Yep, and a match. Going for the clip. She's starting to look pretty taxed here. Definitely that right hand first. Yeah, that's all right. That'll be a really good result for Leah Jeffries. The girls getting very close to the top. We're definitely going to see a few tops on this semi-final route as our top-ranked climbers start coming out. All right, up on our men's route, we've got Angus Simpson coming out, about to pull on to a nicely freshly brushed purple. And after Leah, we're going to see Ella Easton, an absolute beast from New South Wales. Ella is so strong and has been performing so well for the last 12 months. She's one of those kids that is just a disgustingly overachiever. Just does well at everything she does. So you're probably going to see her do really well on this route too. She also has a bit more height than the girls previously coming out, so she'll probably be able to reach through a few more of these sequences a bit more efficiently. Some of these moves that are big locks and a bit of a dynamic throw are going to be a fair bit more static for Ella. Not to mention, she's incredibly strong. Angus Simpson quickly working his way through our first crux. Ella's also sporting a pretty great hairstyle. I'm very into it. What do you think of Ella's hair?
It's pretty nice. I love it.
Ella also trains at Villawood Sister Gym St Peters. She spends most of her time there, as well as some time at 9 Degrees Parramatta and Nomad. So she has a really good, diverse range of training facilities, which is a major advantage. Angus Simpson getting through that bottleneck. Seems to be shaking his head about something. Angus from Rocket Climbing Gym up north, Sunshine State. Angus has been on a youth Australian team for quite some time now. Ella just getting a little confused as she came around that arete, but seems to have sorted it out. Get a little bit of recovery before she goes for this next powerful move up to the feature, as we saw a lot of the girls coming off there. Angus Simpson looks to be moving a little bit faster than Hugo Hornshaw, which will probably serve him well. I mean, Angus is also... Oh, Ella not looking so comfortable here. But not too much of an issue. Just made it onto that first feature. Angus getting super powerful on this purple. It's got a bit of a couple of heads worth of advantage than Hugo. But that's what comes when you're a fully grown male versing a 14-year-old. Very strenuous moves for the boys here. Having to hold onto that pinch as they transfer their weight all the way over into that very open-handed sloper, and then transferring their weight back over to get the clip so they can gain some positivity on that top moon. Oh, that would have been a hard clip for Angus. That's going to have zapped some energy. Ella coming around to the jump around the corner. She is lining up, checking out the hold. Come on, Ella. Oh, statically cruised it. Angus, Ella just attempting to wrap as much of her body around that feature as possible to get as much back in those forearms before she proceeds up to the head wall.
Good job, Ella.
Oh, the double heel from Ella. All right, up next on our men's route, we're going to see Callum Highland, a Tassie boy, currently residing in the ACT. He's been climbing for as long as I have, so 20 plus years now, and consistently making open finals. Ella standing up tall on that feature. Getting up really high. These pinches are going to be absolutely horrendous at this point. Their forearms will be screaming for them. That was a good result for Ella, sitting in second place after, third place. Going Leah Jeffries, Liz Andres, and Ella Easton, all our youth competitors. Can't let these youths take over. Hopefully some of our open competitors can bring it back for us. Hey, Chloe.
Yeah.
Of the open competitors, the actual opens, which one do you think is going to top it?
Out of all the opens,
We've still got Tiff Melius coming out next. We've got Charlotte Garden and Lucy Sterling from our adult opens.
yeah, I definitely think maybe some of those three could definitely top it.
I think so too. It would surprise me if Lucy didn't top it, I think Charlotte's got it in the bag. She's a very powerful climber, and this is a very powerful route, so that's great. That's just great. A big thank you to our live streaming team, Radis Productions, with Antoine, getting everything sorted so everyone can watch along with the action. As well, a big thank you to Mammoth, our major sponsor for this event. These events don't happen without our sponsors, obviously without our volunteers as well. They're super important. But yeah, as our sport gets bigger, we need more sponsorship to be able to pay for super qualified setters, new holds every event. We've got Callum Highland looking pretty comfortable starting on this purple route. Callum's always been a very strong boulderer, but let's see how his endurance holds up on this incredibly long Villawood wall. He's got the strength. If he can climb efficiently enough, he should be able to get to the top. But that's not necessarily always Callum's strong suit. Tends to find some wacky beta around the place. Got Tiffany Melius stepping up. Tiff from Queensland, but originally from Canada. Oh, not originally from Canada, sorry, currently residing in Canada. She's come back to qualify for Oceania next year, being the selection event for the Olympic Games. So this is a pretty big event for her. She also gets the added benefit of getting to spend some time with the family and seeing a lot of friends that she hasn't seen for a while, but the main focus being to qualify. So this is a pretty massive event for her. Callum having no problems on this purple so far. Looking pretty comfortable in that 90-degree lock with 0 feet. Just a nice slick feature.
these green features that the boys are climbing on don't have a great amount of friction on them, so seeing Callum just sitting there is pretty impressive.
Nice work there, Tiff.
Have you watched Callum climb much before, Chloe?
No, not really.
Is this the first time you've seen him climb?
Yes.
He's pretty strong. He's a pretty strong climber.
Nice one, Callum. Nice one, Tiffany. Yeah.
Oh, got a bit too confident there from Callum. I don't think it was the endurance that pulled him off there. This is something we see from Callum on a unfortunately regular basis, however. Getting a bit too wild on routes. Up next in our men, we have Chase Gatland, one of our international competitors. Currently resides in Sydney, but is actually a Kiwi. So we can't let him into finals for obvious reasons. We saw another international competitor, Kozro, take out our first place in the boulder titles as well. So we need our Aussie boys to bring it home. Tiff looking relatively comfortable, about to come around the transition onto the face. Tiff is a Pinnacle sports climber, which is one of the outdoor stores up in Queensland. They take care of all her climbing gear needs.
Really composed as she wakes up.
Tiff trying to scope out these next few moves. This next move up onto the feature is quite taxing. After they've already done 3/4 of a route, they have to get a high heel and really drive up into some not so positive underclings. So we see a lot of the climbers trying to get back as much as they can before having to use a lot of physical exertion driving up out of that feature. Got the friendliest guy in the world, Chase Gatland, coming up to the men's route. Do you get to see Chase climb very often, Chloe? Because he's a Sydney boy.
No, not really.
Ah. Do you get to go around to many other gyms in Sydney, or it's too busy with school and training?
Usually it is quite a bit. I've been to quite a variety of gyms because of 24 and Boulder Series and everything. So I've been to a variety of gyms, just not many.
Just not too often. Yeah. All right, Tiff looking to be a little bit taxed up here. Those elbows are coming out. Oh, that's Tiff. Looks to be tied with Ella at that point. Chase Gatland's a really impressive competitor. He's I think probably one of the top all-rounders in the men's category. I'm actually surprised Tiff didn't top that. I thought she would have had the power to move really quickly through it. What do you think? What do you think held her back?
I don't know. Maybe her feet weren't in the right position. She just didn't have enough strength from, like, enough energy to keep maybe going, or just slipped off.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very fine line when you're on holds like that of how much you can actually recover versus doing taxing more when you're trying to rest on those jugs. You got to know when the line is, when to draw it, and keep moving rather than risking continual fatigue. So I think she may have sat on that jug for a little bit too long. I think and let that lactic acid sort of stagnate in her forearms a bit too much. Got Chase looking pretty comfortable, working his way up here. Chase's girlfriend Siobhan we saw climbing a bit earlier on the purple, so I'm sure she's there in the audience cheering him on. Up next on our women's route, we've got everyone's favourite, but more specifically my favourite, Charlotte Garden, coming out. Charlotte's a boulderer. She's originally from Britain. She's incredibly strong. A couple of years ago she qualified first into their national championships in bouldering. So it's super valuable for all our competitors to be able to climb against other strong international competitors. Bring that home a little bit, the standard that is expected of our athletes. Chase Gatland, oh no! It's like his endurance gave out there. Come on, Charlotte. If you like Charlotte, you should go check out our Instagram page, Shargar94. See her doing some epic Tasmanian big walls. She's a fair bit of a badass, in my opinion.
Nice work there, Charlotte. Super technical purpose line here for Tino, so take your time, making sure she gets it right. Stuff there, Charlotte. Come on.
Charlotte's shaking out lots. I think Charlotte needs to move quite quickly because she won't have the endurance that some of these comp climbers have. Because as useful as outdoor climbing is to competitions and in terms of endurance, it's just when the route setters design these routes, they're trying to challenge you in every possible way. So the pump is just insane, and you don't get the rests that you might otherwise get on some of the outdoor routes, just consistently smashing you. Up next on our men's route, we've got Ned Middlehurst from Victoria. Ned is either 1 year out of junior or is still a junior competitor. Either way, he's been representing Australia for quite a while. An incredibly strong climber, both bouldering and lead. So we'll see what he can pull out on this purple route. He's quite a strong and explosive climber, so he might do pretty well as long as he can not make mistakes. Because we've seen that be an issue for some of our other strong climbers. Callum.
Come on, Charlotte.
Charlotte is a Black Diamond and Evolve athlete, so she's supported by them to make sure that she has all the gear she needs to keep doing what she does, which is being a general badass. Charlotte looking pretty pumped. She needs to find a way to get something back before she comes around this arete. Thanks, Will Hammersler. This was his last year, or this is his last year? I need grammatical accuracy. Just getting some messages. Come on, Charlotte. Smashing her way through. Oh, That was a great performance by Charlotte Garden. I think that's putting her in second place for the women after Leah Jeffries, because Leah, I think the judges are probably going to have given that controlled further hold. Yeah, I'm getting some messages through from our Open team coach, just informing me about Ned's current standing in Youth or Open. Looking to be struggling a little bit with this first section of the climb. So this is Ned's last year in juniors. So it's a very big year for all the junior athletes that compete in Open and junior competitions. On top of, you know, schooling commitments and everything, they're doing double the events that the Open competitors do, trying to gain as much experience as possible. Ned looking a little bit flustered by this move, by this bottleneck. Hopefully he can sort it out. Hate to see one of the top ranked climbers come off this early. Even if he does figure it out, I think he's spent a lot of time. It's going to be pretty taxed by the time he gets through it. Up next we've got Chloe's favourite on the female route, Angie Scarf-Johnson, but I think she's a lot of people's favourite. Where do you think Angie's going to get, Chloe?
I think she's going to go pretty well, hopefully.
My money's on her to top, I think. I think if anyone's got the endurance, it's probably Angie. Ned Middlehurst, fighting hard up into this undercling. Driving, there we go, sorted it out, but he's shaking his head. He knows he's made a big mistake there. He needs to get a lot back on these next few less taxing moves. Ned's a Bayside climber. Bayside's produced a huge amount of strong climbers. James Cassay, Claire Langmore, Oceana McKenzie, Sarah Davis, Campbell Harrison. A disproportionately high number of our strong climbers have come out of that gym, which is James Cassay and Claire Langmore's gym, or Claire Cassay, sorry, I should say, their gym. So it really just drives home the importance of that healthy and motivated training environment. Training by yourself is incredibly hard, but when you've got a pack of psyched individuals constantly pushing you. Oh, Ned making light work of that dyno. Holding it at a 90-degree lock. That boy is a weapon. Ned fighting now. You can see those elbows coming out. Starting to get... digging in deep. Come on, Ned. Come on. Oh. That was besides the start a little bit, that was a really great performance from Ned. He regrouped, kept fighting, regained a bit in the forearms. Angie's Angie, how do you explain Angie? Angie's pretty awesome. She is obviously one of our top youth competitors, and open competitors actually. She's one of the best climbers in the country. She's done incredible things on rock. She has recently just got back from a trip to Tonga where she was doing some bolting with Lee Cossey, which is obviously where her dad's side of her family is from. The North Face did a little film about it, the Pacific Line. So if you're interested in checking that out, it's a pretty good watch. Did you see Pacific Lines, Chloe?
No.
I would recommend watching it. Very cool. Do you reckon you'd ever get into bolting routes?
Yeah, maybe. One day.
It's pretty exhausting. Those drills are pretty heavy. Up next on our men's route, we're going to see Matthias coming out. Matthias is a Sydney boy. Matthias is currently studying to be a physiotherapist. Obviously specialising in climbing. So come next year, if you've got any climbing questions, probably want to go see him because he has a vast wealth of knowledge in all things climbing injuries. Angie looking super comfortable as she comes up this head wall. Oh, a little foot slip, but she holds it together. Transitioning smoothly as round that face. I think this is putting her into first place now, past Leah Jeffries. With only a couple moves left on this route. And she's looking pretty cool. So I think we're going to see a top here from Angie Scarf-Johnson. Around the face, that last hold. Just needs to figure out her clip.
Allez, Matthias!
We saw an uncharacteristic performance from Matthias in bouldering. That's usually his forte, but had some extenuating circumstances, I think, that led to a slightly subpar performance from him. But I think he's probably hoping to regain a few ranking points in the lead. And she's still struggling to get this final clip in. Working her way around the head. Couple holds left. There she is, doing the cross, holding it. That's an awesome result for Angie. Our first top. Matthias also struggling with this first crux. Oh, that was an impressive move. Matthias is not a small guy. He's about 6'1", 6'2", so that was getting his foot up there onto that jib and cranking. That was fantastic.
That's it, come on.
Matthias looking flustered even at this next section. Obviously climbing is quite a mental sport, so when you go through a section like that on a route, it's super important to be able to regroup, recompose, get back into a good headspace before you have to try hard again, pulling on. It never lets up on these routes. So I think we're seeing Matthias sort of still a little bit flustered, struggling to regain that cool, calm and collected composure. Because when everything goes well, it's easy to stay in that head state. But when you maybe make a mistake or a hold isn't as positive as you thought it was going to be, and just a spanner gets thrown in the works, it's very hard to come back from that. And Matthias coming off on the dynamic move that we just saw Ned Middlehurst absolutely crush. Our second last competitor for our females is Lucy Sterling. you follow Lucy's World Cup climbing, Chloe?
Yes, I've seen some of it.
She's been doing a lot this year, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Getting just as much experience as possible before the open selection for the Olympics. I've got two rat bags sitting next to me, two looks to be about 4 and 5-year-olds. One being Tom O'Halloran and Amanda Watts' daughter, Audrey, cheering on Lucy as she gets up the wall. It's so awesome seeing the next generation of climbers coming through from our open competitors.
Nice confident climbing there from Lucy. Thanks for waiting the technical section.
Any chance we can get one of the roosters? Maybe Carly, if she's not doing anything? Up next, everyone's crowd favourite on the men's, the best guy, Tom Farrell.
Okay, we still have 8 male climbers to go. Next up we have Tom Farrell from New South Wales.
Lucy Sterling making her way, making good progress, tracking up this wall, looking pretty comfortable. I would be surprised if much of this really phases Luce.
Some play by great actor there. We just come back from the 60 US to go up.
I've got Scotty Pritchard coming in to talk some smack with me about these open climbers. So how is the setting going so far, Scotty?
So far so good. The splits are looking alright as far as we can see. The results are coming up and the boys are having a little trouble down the bottom of this semi, but they're fighting through and the girls are getting pretty high up there on that route. Bit techy and time consuming at the top, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a good split on the women's route. The men's looks like it's got a few more obvious cruxes that might be grouping a few of the competitors, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, we're yet to see any of our competitors get up to that second last and last quick draw. So hopefully over the next 8 competitors that we have coming out, our top ranked competitors, we will see them get up there. I think we've seen the guys do just so many different beta variations through this purple route. It's super complex. What was the sort of intention with setting this climb?
Pretty much it was just to throw them out of their comfort zone. Like, yeah, it's big moves, but compared to their first 2 heats, it's a whole nother ball game for them up there. It's bigger throws, it's bigger holds. That not all the competitors are used to the big newer holds, and we'll just see how they're tackling them. And as you said, like, there's been different beta for every single competitor so far. Yeah, we saw them all struggle a bit at the start, but as you said, the bigger names are coming through now, and we're seeing the big guns come out.
Yeah, I think as well we're seeing a lot of movements that aren't inherently that we don't generally see on route climbing. Really obscure, like, body position movements, which is awesome. Yeah, exactly what Scotty was saying, getting them out of their comfort zone. We've got Lucy getting very high on this purple, just coming around to the last little crux, traversing back around the arete. Tom Farrell coming up to the move that so far stopped Sam Lavender and Hugo, and he's I mean, that was the closest we've seen, but hopefully that'll be enough to push Tom through to finals. But we do still have another 7 competitors to come out, so And Lucy just coming off just on the head wall there. So now we've got a ranking of Angie, Lucy, and Charlotte, I think. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes. No. I think Leah was going to be ranked above Charlotte because Leah went over to that second last hold on the face. Look, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit gutted that Tom fell there.
Yeah, look, so am I. I thought he was going to get a bit higher. He doesn't know these holds, and there are good parts, but he didn't know.
And also, he's just such a nice guy.
He's a lovely gentleman, isn't he?
You just want to see him do well in every aspect of his life.
Absolutely. Like, he's just done a lovely job with Axel up on the big walls, and he's come back home. He's blasted bouldering the other day that I saw.
Absolutely, killed it. I think this trip to Yosemite did great things for him. You know, he's probably going to call his mother right now. That's how good of a boy he is. Go talk to Mama Farrell. Give her the lowdown. But yeah, no, I think that trip to Yosemite just did wonders for him. I think it took a lot of pressure off him, which I've discussed with him extensively. And yeah, there's a lot of expectation when you're up in those top few climbers, and you feel a lot of pressure to perform, and not necessarily perform at your best, but just not to make mistakes in competition. So I think, which is not necessarily the best position you want to be in, but that's what happens when you're at the top. It's not a matter of performing your best, it's a matter of not making mistakes.
That's it. That pressure is high. Like, I remember when I used to compete, and I felt it even in the youths, like coming through into that name that comes through into opens, like you would have as well, Emma, as we competed from the youths coming up into open, and you're that name that's made the mark and going to finals, and yeah, it's a whole new ball game when you got that extra pressure.
All right, up next we have Oceana McKenzie stepping up to our women's route. Our final female coming out. Our top-ranked female, Osha's won both speed and boulder so far. So, I mean, I don't want to say she's in with a good chance of winning lead too, because we all make mistakes, but she is in great form at the moment. Up next we have Jake Bresnahan. Jake Bresnahan is a crusher from the mountains. He just finished White Ladder a few months ago, getting the third ascent.
Third, I believe, and possibly the first extension finish on it.
Yeah, but that extension's choss. I don't know if he's going to put that on his 8A account.
Look, I think maybe he just did it to clip an extra bolt. Who knows?
Yeah, just still had a bit too much left in the forearms. Thought he'd give it a go. But yeah, Jake has been climbing forever. And the last couple of years we've seen him come back into competition. And I don't want to say the old dog, but the old dog still got a few tricks he's bringing to comp climbing. His footwork maybe not being one of them.
Yeah, maybe he can show these young guys a few things, but maybe they can show him a couple of things too.
And these holds would be super foreign for Jake. These big slopes. Doesn't get that in the Blue Mountains.
No, you don't get anything like that. Though this section right here, these minging little crimps, that's something like it.
Yeah, the skin-splitting sharp crimps. Jake giving us a look of despair as he works through this first sort of bottleneck. Osh just looking so calm. Looks like a warm-up. So yeah, Tom Farrell and Axel Triton just got back from attempting freerider in Yosemite. How effing cool is that?
Like, I can't believe, yeah, it's a whole nother world up there. I've been up there once myself with Axel as well. My God, he is in his element up there. Like, yeah, Tom would have been taken for a ride of his life.
Yeah, I was speaking to Axel before, and he was definitely talking as if he was sort of the old dog in that situation. Like, yeah, I think you learn a lot. And I was like, oh, you didn't learn anything, Axel? He's like, oh, I already know it all. Know it all. I was like, you do know it all, Axel. But yeah, no, that would have been a wild trip. Wild trip. Some of the stories that Tom was posting were pretty entertaining. The story of them driving through Joe's Valley with frying the egg in the van. Oh man, that looked like something was going to go wrong there real badly.
Yeah, nothing like a bumpy road with a jet boil between your legs.
Yeah. All right, we've got Osh just getting right up to this head wall, looking pretty controlled. Oh, starting to look a little worn actually. She's looking pretty pumped. She doesn't have many moves left though, so if she can get a little bit back on this last biggish hold. Jake Bresnahan finding the knee bar. Finding the knee bar. Oh my god! Oh, that would have been incredible! You tested it with the knee bar, right, Scotty?
Absolutely, yeah, that was the first way I went, for sure.
Oh no.
3 a.m. this morning, you know, what else would you be doing?
Knee bar on.
Yeah. Yeah, I've lost a little bit of skin on the knees, but that'll go back.
Always does. Yeah, we're just looking at a nice healthy graze on Scotty's leg, on the inner thigh. Putting those pole dancers' thighs to use. Osh coming. Osh looking pretty taxed. And a little uncertain about this top bit. We've only seen Osh get through it successfully. Lucy was close. Your feet look pretty average up here. What are the holds like that you're grabbing up there, Scotty?
Look, to be honest, the handhold...
Oh no, and that's Osh off. That puts Ange in first place. This is it's going to be an exciting final.
It will be. We'll see how they step up again one more time.
It's always funny when the competitors almost land on the judge of the climb. It's like you're judging the climb. Like your one job is to watch the climber, and it almost landed on your head. How did that happen?
Well, when you got 4 judges running around, you know, you got pretty good odds of landing on someone.
So that's it for the girls. Up next, in the men's category, we've got Sam Bowman, the silent assassin from Queensland, from Urban Climb. He's one of their setters up there. Always setting chossy goodness for the climbers, putting them out of their comfort zone. So he should be pretty familiar with the choss that Scotty's set for him here on this purple.
I wish I could take credit for this bad boy, but it's not me. I'm just hoping that if we see Sam on the last hold this time, he's going to fully commit and actually hold it. Yesterday he showed us a good display of how to hold the last hold for about 10 seconds with one hand and not quite get the clip. So hopefully today it will come together.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I mean I always try and get out of the setters who set what, but it's a bit of like a what is it when people go into hiding when someone's trying to kill them?
Yeah, look, we're scared.
Yeah, you're scared. Yeah, absolutely. The setters are scared, so they've got to remain anonymous for their own safety. Because definitely there's been stages where I've wanted to take on a route setter. Sam trying to use his height to get through this. Oh, I think he's going to have to find some different beta there. If he goes too much harder, he's going to push himself off. There we go. Sam working it out, making quick work of it. Sam's got quite an impressive arm span on him, so hopefully these big throws will be a little bit more comfortable for him than some of the smaller competitors. Not to say that he's not equally as strong, because he's a weapon. And he's one of the humblest dudes ever, Sam Bowman.
He is. He'll not often speak. I've never heard him speak badly of anyone. I've only ever heard good words spoken about him. I've had some lovely trips bouldering with him before down in the Gramps. It's been a delight. He's another delightful human.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Sammy. Hold it together, man. Oh, he thought he was a bit too tall there. Maxing out his extension. Come on, Sam. Get that foot back across. Pulling those hips in. Come on. Sort yourself out there, mate. Gee wowzers. That was, heart skipped a beat there for a second. Almost as much as if Tom had come off there, but, oh no! Oh no, that's not a good result for Sammy. That could be the difference, because we've already seen 3 climbers get higher than that. We do, yeah. So hopefully, hopefully he's done enough, or at least can tie and going on countback. But yeah, that's Sam's going to be a little bit disappointed with that for sure.
But the next finals, I'm sure he'll pull something out of the hat, and he'll pull hard.
I have actually never seen Sam pull in any other way but hard. I think that's the only direction he pulls. Hard? Yes. Can pull hard. So we're just seeing, we'll see the female results come out pretty soon. I think provisionally we've got Angie Scarth-Johnson in the lead, followed by Oceana McKenzie on countback, and Lucy Sterling. Are we still going countback before time?
Look, that's a good question. I think so.
Yeah, the setter doesn't know either. I'm pretty, which is a good state of affairs. I just place plastic on plywood. That's all I do. I make it look good. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure we go countback before time. I'll probably get a notification from someone pretty soon being like, yes, Australian team athlete, you do go countback before time. The rules change so often. Alright, up next on our men's semi-final route, we're going to have JJ Manel. Josh Manel, the cutest kid.
Oh, look at him. Look at him.
Isn't he adorable? He just did his first 31 up in the Blue Mountains. Such a cutie.
He's a strong puller as well, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's definitely got some pretty good endurance to back up his strong pulling. He's obviously a nomad athlete because he's got some brains on his head. So I'm just going to pass you off to Scotty while I loudly yell encouraging words to JJ.
Yeah, look, Josh has probably been training real hard at Nomad, pulling many laps to get the endurance for these bad boys. He should find these holds to his liking though. This route from ground to top is pretty bouldery the whole way, so we'll see what he can pull out. He does climb a lot with Angie. That's probably his influence of some endurance coming through there. And attitude, you know? Yeah. We'll see what happens. He's definitely got fight in him. Expect to see him go nice and high on this.
When he trains with Tom and the other boys at Nomad, he definitely gets his ass handed to him a fair bit. So
gets a bit feisty with him, does he? Come on, Josh.
Him and Angie are just back from the World Youth Championships in Innsbruck, where they did a lot of training at the Kletterzentrum over there, the big national team facility, which is just insane. If you haven't seen it, look up Kletterzentrum Innsbruck, Kletterzentrum. It's by far the biggest facility in the world. I wouldn't even hazard a guess at the cost, in millions and millions of dollars this facility is worth.
Absolutely, I've heard that it's the mecca for training. Everyone travels there from around the world. And then I heard the other day that they have over 600 lead routes there. That is insane. They have 25 route setters, permanent route setters there. It's a venue and a half. You can have
government funding, hey? Ooh. Old ScoMo, if you're listening there.
Yeah, what's going on, Australia?
using a lot of energy coming up through this purple. He's usually pretty strong on free. There it is. Figuring it out. Getting that toe hook in. Opening up, foot out. Oh, thank God. Otherwise we would have been having some stern words.
Come on, dude.
He's a pretty cool cat though. Hopefully he can regain his composure.
He is. He's looking chilled already again. He's getting ready for the next section.
Yeah, good work there, Josh.
Well, it's definitely, yeah, there's a big sense of relief when you get through something like that. I don't even know how to explain it.
Sometimes it can definitely put you off for the rest of the route, but Josh looks like he's composed. He's getting back through it.
But it is going to have sucked up some of his time, and with these top competitors, I think time's going to be of the essence. How long ago was that?
Oh, long reach for Josh there, but he's there. He's good. Coming up to the big move. We've seen some showy falls, some big catches. Oh no! Oh, we're seeing the fight come out of him. Feisty Josh back on the ground.
That's not a happy 15-year-old boy. If there is such a thing, but that's not what we're seeing here. Yeah, that's alright. We live and we learn, Scotty.
Don't we? Don't we, Emma?
Cruel word.
I think you and me both have had that same look on our face when we were 15.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised a lot of the times I didn't get pulled up for profanities as I came off a wall. I was sure, like, every time you'd just be like, ah! And then no one said anything. You're like, no, it mustn't have been that loud.
Yeah, maybe we got to push a little bit hard to get some yellow cards, you know?
Open age competitor that is out of the isolation zone. We will also ask all the open age to have left you up there at that time.
Alright, up next we have our Australian national champion boulderer, Khosrow.
So just after that announcement, I think
Not going to pronounce his last name. Khosrow H. Khosrow H is coming up on the men's route.
I was wondering where you're going with that.
Well, look, you know, I get Horan, all sorts of things. Yeah, Emma H, that's fine. Look at what a trooper Axel is. He's been on belay this whole semi-finals round. Only just got off the plane from Yosemite this week.
Axel has been putting in the long, hard yards. He got straight off the plane. The next day he was here testing routes with us from Wednesday all the way through to now. He's done the long nights, he's slept here, he's been here the whole time.
God, he's a legend.
When our hands couldn't take any more from setting, he pulled straight on and was like this men's semi right now. He was testing this bad boy at 3 this morning.
Oh, Jesus, that sounds atrocious. I definitely do not miss those days of route setting. Yeah, no, Axel's such a funny dude. I think we have a odd messenger relationship where we just send each other inspirational quotes, and that's just how we communicate. That's 100% of our communication is inspirational quotes. Sometimes it's hard. Yeah. Are we climbing or not, Axel? When the wind blows.
I think that's a yes in his language.
Yeah, it is.
I'll see you at the crag at 8 a.m.
Good, how are you? You know a bit. Come on.
Good rest in that section. Preparing himself for the next time.
Khosrow's looking very composed up there. He's on the shorter side of the competitors, but he's still pulling through just like the big boys. Definitely not short on the strength though. My God, this man can pull. Coming up for this big move we just saw Josh have a little bit of problems with.
Cosro's a bit of a bigger boy, so hopefully we won't see that issue. Oh, there it is.
With ease.
Nice work there, Cosro.
Oh, Cozzy getting up there. Cozzy's the head coach up at Urban Climb. So he manages all of the youth programs, which he does a fantastic job of, because the amount of crushingly strong Queenslanders we're seeing at this event is
Looking solid.
staggering.
Come on, Cosro. Yeah, Cosro, come on.
King Cos is making light work of this purple route. He's also the Queensland State Lead champion. So this boy is pretty much just yep, and that wasn't a problem for
Really
him.
strong.
Taking candy from a baby.
I think this is
Or
a new high point we're
polyurethane
seeing.
for some plywood. Oh yeah, fuck, cruising.
Nice work,
Just
Cosro.
cruising. Oh! Might have been a little bit too confident there.
Just a little going with two hands.
Yeah.
But look, he put on a good show for the crowd, and I'm pretty sure that'll lock in a finals position for him.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We do have Tom O'Halloran, James Cassay, and Alan Price still to come out. So 3 very big names in Australian climbing.
Big names coming from old school as well, a lot of
Yep,
them.
yep. So they'll have a lot of experience to maneuver up this wall. Gee wowzers, I can't get over that jump. There was a lot of power behind that. He was just like,
That's it. I don't even think he expected to hold it. He was
Yeah.
just doing it for the fun. And Axel definitely gave him a little bit extra slack there, just for the show.
well, a victory whipper.
Okay, if you are an open
Generally
B
comes
or
after a
master
cent, but-
competitor,
But we'll take
isolation is
going to
open
last
you
one,
now.
that's fine.
So if you're an open B or
Close
master
enough.
competitor, you can go into the isolation zone. We'll let you know when that's being closed. If you're an open A and you need less gear up in the isolation zone, can you please go get it as soon as possible? Because once isolation is closed to the open Bs and masters, you will not be allowed upstairs to get your gear. So if you're an open A with less gear upstairs, go and get it now, please, so that you can actually get it once isolation closes. You will not be allowed up there.
Yep, so we do have final results for the Open A females. We've got in 8th place qualifying into finals, Ella Easton. In 7th place we have Tiffany Melius. In 6th place, Alyssa Andres. In 5th place, Charlotte Garden. 4th place, Leah Jeffries. 3rd, Lucy Sterling. 2nd, Oceana McKenzie. And 1st, Angie Scarf Johnson.
Tom O'Halloran from Blackheath, New
I
South
think that's
Wales.
a...
Tom, of course, is a highly accomplished climber, has done multiple minor
What do you
routes in the
mean?
Blue Mountains, most of them first and second.
Oh, no,
Certainly established that career in Australia.
I think that pretty accurately sums up the... I think that's a very accurate finals round for the women. I don't think there's anyone there that doesn't deserve to be in that finals. I think that's an accurate representation of our top 8 female lead climbers.
Yeah, it's a strong field that's come out. Top 20 going into this semi, and now the top 8 going into finals is definitely the top end of that. It'll be a big final.
Up next we've got Tom O'Halloran on our men's semi-final route. We saw Tom O'Halloran get 3rd place in the bouldering on Thursday and Friday. He's I guess traditionally a route climber from the Blue Mountains, so it'll be interesting to see how he does on these comp routes. He's been doing a lot of boulder comps in the last couple of years and doing very well, so, but I think this is one of the first times I'm seeing him on lead in a while.
Look, I've seen him in and around training a bit in here, and he definitely is not slacking on the lead either. He's lapping some of our hardest routes in the gym.
Absolutely, I think, and he's just continuously putting up hard stuff in the mountains. What did he put up the other week? Do you remember?
No,
I can do some quick research.
here we go.
But he also runs a climbing podcast called Battle Days. If you haven't checked that out, it's got a really interesting assortment of podcast interviews with top climbers and industry professionals in climbing. A really great insight into climbing in Australia. him and his wife Amanda, and occasionally guest starring their adorable daughter Audrey.
But he's definitely dedicated to the comp scene at the moment, really pushing for the qualifications coming up next year. He's spent a lot of time on plastic, and it's really shining through. His results are up there, and he's fighting all the young ones that have been pulling plastic their whole lives. Oh, he's pulling a bit of a Sharma here, not quite a shirt, but tape's coming off the finger.
Yeah, I mean, these climbers have been climbing for 4 days straight now. They have negative skin, not no skin, they've got negative skin. And yeah, we've seen Tom and a lot of the competitors have their tips completely taped up. So not only is it a matter of determination and fight on these routes, it's a matter of shutting out pain in your fingertips and in your whole body, because their bodies would absolutely be aching. And yes, I have found it. It's called Nilp. It's Nilp. It's a 34. He put it up last week.
Nice.
Up in Elphinstone in the Blue Mountains.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Lovely weather up there right now.
Isn't
Pulling
it?
hard.
Yeah, come on.
If it wasn't for all these awesome climbers demonstrating pretty wild stuff, I think I'd be up there today.
Absolutely. Wouldn't take a glorious day like this
No,
too lightly. Got to make use of them.
absolutely. And absolutely is a glorious day. I'm just going to pop out, Scotty.
All right, Emma. Yeah, we'll see you in a week.
Yeah, Tom, come on.
A massive thank you again to our sponsors. Mammoth Equipment being the major sponsor for this event. SCA putting endless hours of work into these. Sport Climbing New South Wales ACT, Radis Productions on our live stream and videography and photography. Diana White on the photos. Yeah, and so many countless volunteers. So many.
Especially being over 2 venues this year, with the volunteers in at St. Peter's and at Villawood this year. Some have travelled over, some haven't, but we've lost some, we've picked up others, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, how do you think the event going over two venues has gone? I think from my perspective it seems like a good idea, because it takes a little bit of pressure off a single venue, not having to close for such an extended amount of time, not so much disruption, all that other stuff. How has it been from the setting aspect of the comp?
The setting aspect, it's definitely been on a nicer way to do it. We've had comps before here at Villawood where we have done lead, speed and boulder in one venue, and it's been pretty crazy with big setting teams, but this time round it's been good. The only bad thing about it was I didn't have time to go over and check out the bouldering. The boulders looked absolutely spectacular for these lads and ladies, but unfortunately we were a bit pressed for time setting all the classic routes over here, so apart from that, it's been amazing. I hope the competitors have liked it, and we got Tom high on this route. He's about to go for a last move. He's looking a bit boxed. Come on. Oh! Tom high up there, same as King Cods. Two to go on the men's route. 2 to go.
Thanks. Alright, up next we have James Cassay coming out, our second last male competitor. James Cassay, no stranger to competition, having been competing and at the top of his game for as long as I've been competing, so at least, 18 years. So that's a pretty impressive feat. Just having had his second son just a couple of months ago. James has had his hands pretty full but that hasn't stopped him from qualifying second into the semi-finals at the Australian National Championships. It's pretty impressive.
I don't think much is going to stop him, to be honest.
He's a pretty determined dude. He's yeah. That's pretty much all I can say about James. As you saw before, one of his proteges, Ned Middlehurst, coming out. Obviously climbs at Bayside, which is James's gym. They do a great job producing max amount of crushers.
Anyone with a keen eye for climbing walks into that venue as a, looking around, looking for some climbing, and walks out a crusher, really.
Absolutely. It doesn't take long. You just get strong by osmosis of being around all those people. Yeah. You don't even have to pull on.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just sit and absorb.
Alright, let's welcome to the world now, James Cassay from Victoria.
Here he is, with that charming James Cassay smile.
Little wink he has, that styled hair. He's looking good.
Oh, what a cutie.
Even if he doesn't get pulled off right now, he's going to take the crowd.
He's already charmed the judges. It's like 48 plus, thanks. James, the climb only has 45. 48 plus, yep.
Maybe a $50 note slipped in there, but who knows? I don't think
Yeah, 8 weeks. He's got an 8-week-year-old at home with Claire. Claire didn't compete this year. Obviously, 8 weeks post-pregnancy. She's probably a bit tired. To say the least. And with their other gorgeous 3-year-old, Harvey?
Yeah. Look, I'm going to go with 3, I reckon.
Take a little gamble. Yeah, look, can't be expected to know everything.
All I know is James is looking good.
Got some sassy route setters giving us some attitude in the live feed here. Carly and Anea. James Cassay making looking pretty comfortable. Let's see how he gets through this first contortion-y. I don't even know. How would you describe this move? What is this move?
Look, to be honest, I don't know, but it's probably going to be the only time I'm going to mantle with a palm on a 40-degree overhanging wall. Like, this move is alien. Look at him go, he's using knee.
Oh, Jesus! Oh, James looks back at the crowd. Relieved to have stuck that. The amount of knees I've seen on that volume for a national championship is not something you want to see.
Look, maybe you don't. Maybe they just got to get a bit more flexible.
James is pretty flexible. Like all these climbers, actually, all these top boys, their hip mobility is just insane.
I gotta say, that didn't come from nowhere on my shin.
Yeah, Scotty's showing me a pretty impressive shin graze from testing this route. This gem used in the loosest term possible. James looking quite comfortable. James is pretty good on all these big holds.
He's eating them up. They might as well just be jugs for him. I think he puts his hands on and just crushes it into a jug.
James has actually had quite a massive impact on the Australian climbing scene, being one of the first climbers to sort of go over to the World Cups and start representing Australia and bringing back some of what he learnt over there to the Australian route setting and the hold and climbing industry, and really shifting the way Australian climbing's going, motivating countless youth competitors, because until Chris Webb, James Cassay, Al Price, before those boys started going over doing big stuff, there was really no pathway for junior competitors into an open World Cup. It just it was there, but it just wasn't a pathway that was realistic for Australian climbers. So then to see a lot of these guys going over there and doing that, I think really opened the door to the Australian climbing scene to start taking on the international circuit. James looking pretty comfortable. James has been, I don't know how many years in a row James was national boulder champion, but it was a lot. It's been a lot. I think every year it's either been Al Price, Tom Farrell. Oh, James Cassay not even looking pumped.
Unexpected there, just moving out from the small holds back onto the big ones again, and maybe it was a bit of a surprise.
But I think that's going to be enough to keep him in finals.
Yeah, he's up there. We got, what do we have now? One more to go. One more big name.
Yeah, we've just got Al Price.
Al Price, as we just said, that him, James and himself Al have done the big hard yards going over in the comp scene and taken Australian climbing up definitely a couple of notches, and hopefully we'll see a good fight between them here.
Fingers crossed. I mean, you kind of think after 10 years of watching the same boys battle it out, you'd get bored, but it doesn't. It doesn't happen. You're still on the edge of your seat every time they climb.
Absolutely. Well, they put on a show. Like, they know what to do. They know what the crowd wants, so they're going to provide.
And their climbing just continues to evolve.
Well, there is that too. You know, they're continuously getting stronger, and you know, yeah, I'm out of words for them. They're just stunning.
Just speechless.
Absolutely.
That's often what I get with Al. I'm speechless. All right, here he is coming around the back of the pillar. Our last male climber, Alan Price from WA. Originally a Sydney boy, moved over to WA to open his gym, the Boulder Hub, which has also done a really good job of introducing climbing and competition to the Perth contingent. He's sporting some super impressive mutton chops at the moment for Movember, raising awareness for male mental health issues. One of the funniest dudes I know, I think.
Absolutely, he does. He's a lovely dude, and he can definitely make anyone laugh. He's been a big influence in my climbing, actually.
I think a lot of the Sydney kids, him and Christina, had a major influence on.
Major, yeah. Especially with his work with mountain equipment when I was younger, and then I got sponsored. He was the first one through the ranks that saw me and saw a bit of
whatever sort of, you know, little speckle of talent there was.
There was, definitely was.
I'm kidding, Scotty. I'm kidding. You're a crusher.
That's why I've moved into the route setting games. I let the hard boys pull hard now, and I just set the hard moves for them. If I can almost touch it, they can hold it. That's my rule.
That's my rule too.
Well, I guess we're good setters then.
Come on out. Come on out.
Come on, Al.
Yeah, come on.
Yet another competitor somewhat stumped by this first contortion. Oh, easy there, Al. Come on. Oop. Come on. Come on, old boy.
Teach these young guys new tricks. He's looking composed though. He's not desperate on the moves yet, so he's definitely got gas left in the tank there. Well, you'd hope so as well. He's 3 draws up.
Yeah, no, but I think what we see in these more seasoned competitors is their ability to calm down and to recover when they make mistakes like that. There it is, sorted out, and he looked like he cruised it as well.
Well, yeah, he's still part way through it. Who knows what's gonna? Yeah, okay. Now he's through. He can chill again, and he will be able to. He'll get there.
Al just always impresses me with his climbing, like constantly. He's one of the most technical climbers I think I've ever watched climb. And look, he's no spring chicken. He's our oldest competitor, and he is just a pleasure to watch.
And he's probably the only competitor that can pull off those chops so majestically. Like, he is rocking them well, and they're flying up the wall with him.
If nothing else, he does get the award for the best mutton chops in the competition.
Nice work there, Al. Come on.
I really like that he fully committed to it, not just a mow. Because you see a lot of mows in Movember. It is Movember. It's not Chop Fember.
Look, he's taken one for the team for me as well. I reckon it would take me about 3 years to grow a bit of bum fluff. So he's taken it for a couple of us guys together.
Yeah, I mean, if I stopped shaving, it would probably be at least a month. Like, at least a month before I can pull that off.
Oh, you're beating me there.
Al looking super composed. He's just got to secure his place in finals. I think he's just got to get up onto that second green, the last green triangle feature, which with the way he's moving, I think is very feasible for him.
Absolutely, he is looking composed. He's clipping early. A little bit of a struggle there.
Yeah, that was probably not not necessarily a good move for him. We've got the look, this could be, that is a mistake. I'll put it out there.
Yeah, he's wasted a little
That's
bit of
a bad
energy.
move.
He just doesn't know these holds. They're actually, look, I'm not going to say they're jugs, because that's definitely a lie. They're not. But they're not on the lower end of the scale at the moment.
That's all right. Well, he looks like he's gotten pretty comfortable there. Oh no! I think that's going to see Al pipped out of finals.
Yeah, it might too. Well, only time can tell with the results.
Absolutely, and we'll see those results in a few minutes now that our men have finished up. Thanks for joining us for the semi-finals. Join us again for the finals, starting from 4:30. One more big shout out to all our volunteers, sponsors, Mammoth, Radders Productions for the live stream, Sport Climbing Australia, Sport Climbing New South Wales ACT, all of the competitors, all of the route setters. Thank you, you're the best. Our sport is doing good and slowly getting better. I fist pump in the air. It might be slow, but it's getting there. There is improvement. All right, thanks guys.
A simple idea stuck in your head. Not just being good, but being excellent. You'll have to push your limits and never stop. Focus on the essential, the things that really count. And rethink what you thought you knew. You will try and you will fail, and try and fail again. Subtle differences will decide between failure and success. The right tools will bring you further. And the proper technique will prepare you for whatever comes. It's about the journey and the lives you touch. It's not what you do, but how you do it. Do what you can't. Be what you can.